Hey, welcome back guys, and thank you for clicking on the video. Today we're gonna harness the power of strength and lightning, but like this jerk, this total jerk. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Draconic Sentinel boss, the one that's mounting on a nice looking armor horse that makes me and Turin jealous every time, and does great use of red lightning. I'll let you know how to make the same setup, but adding a few modifications to the armaments to make it more powerful. I'll show you that and more of this Draconic Lightning build. Game on. If you enjoyed this kind of build video, please hit that like button and subscribe down below to be part of the tribe. If you have created this kind of build to play like a Draconic Sentinel, please comment your experience down below. I'm interested to see what build you use, and if you're like me, you hated that ugly helm. With that, let's take a deep dive into the build. Quick shout out to our sponsor, AOE.com. If you don't have the time to grind for runes or items in Elden Ring and need them real fast, use my code BAL for 3% off. To really resemble the look of the Draconic Sentinel boss, you need to defeat 2 Sentinels in the game. One guarding the entrance of Ladial Capital in Altos Plateau, dropping the weapon Dragon Greatclaw and Dragon Claw Shield, and then one guarding the last boss of Crumbling Farmazula that drops the Malformed armor set. Once you get all your bling bling together and you play with it, you realize the Dragon Greatclaw is really an underperforming weapon for several reasons. It has the lowest attack power of all colossal weapons because of its poor strength scaling, and the skill Endure has really bad synergy in that weapon, and there's no option to change the Ash of War. The same goes for the Dragon Claw Shield that has a built-in skill that I don't really like it. So comparing it to how the Sentinel boss uses them with the red lightning is very disappointing, to be honest. But fear not, I made a few substitutions to have a powerful weapon with an interesting Ash of War and a good shield to match the Draconic Lightning look I was aiming for. The weapon I decided to go with is the Dragon Halberd that works really well with this build. When max level, it scales B with strength and C with dexterity. I'll show you later in the video the optimal attribute spread to use this weapon effectively, and it's not what you think. The requirements are really low, and it's in the top 3 for physical damage amongst Halberd. But the thing that makes this weapon pop is the Ash of War called Spinning Slash that does a 360 spin attack and the chance of a second spin with a final slash when you heal the skill button mid-animation. And for this halberd only, it imbues it with Ice Lightning, giving 130 lightning damage and 80 frost buildup up to 20 seconds. Also does additional damage against dragon and ancient dragon type enemies. It is cool as hell. You can obtain it by defeating the Dragon King Soldier boss in Siofra River. After your kill are done, the final boss in Caelid, you need to go to the red spot area marked in Mistwood. It's the southeast part of Limgrave. If you start from Fort Hate West, side of Grace, you will need to go to this area where a big crater with floating rocks are. Then you gotta go your way down into Nokron, Eternal City, fight the Mimic Tier mini-boss, and then jump down to Siofra River. Follow this route and you will be there in no time. The way to play with this build depends really on the situation you are in. There are 3 setups you can use. First is the defensive setup using the Dragon Halberd with the brass shield in case you need that extra protection and want to perform guard counters to enemies. It also gives you the chance of performing the spinning slash skill when needed because the shield won't have a skill. Second is the offensive setup, using the Dragon Halberd with the Gravel Stone Seal. In this case, you will be doing normal attacks, the spinning slash skill, and also able to do lightning incantation to increase the versatility of attacks from long range AoE attacks and incantations for big size enemies. And third is the boss setup, using 2 Gravel Stone Seals that will increase your incantations total damage by up to 32%. This setup will be used at the beginning of a big boss fight, can get the most hits out of the Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike incantation, and later in the fight if needed you can jump back to the defensive or offensive setup. Don't worry if you don't have the second seal, you can obtain it on your next playthrough, and playing with one seal is still powerful, so don't worry too much about it. So the armaments are going to look like this. In the main hand, the Dragon Halberd, then the first Gravel Stone Seal that will increase Dragon Cult incantations by 15%. This one is used for the big boss setup. In the offhand, our second Gravel Stone Seal that casts all the incantations, and then the brass shield for the defensive setup I explained earlier. The armor is the Malformed Dragon set, comprised of helm, chest piece, gauntlets, and greaves. Just look at that helm. For the talismans I got, first is the Great Jar's Arsenal Talisman that will increase maximum equip load by 19%, letting you carry the halberd, the shield, the heavy armor, and all that, and still not getting the fat rolls. It's a reward for completing the Great Jar challenge of defeating 3 NPCs in Dragon Battle. Next is the Lightning Scorpion Charm that will increase lightning damage by 12%, but increases physical damage taken by 10%, and will increase all of the lightning incantations we use, and will also increase the spinning slash skill. It's found in Windhelm Catacombs in Altus Plateau in a room sealed by an imp station. Next is the Flock's Canvas Talisman that will increase the potency of damage incantations by 8%. It drops from Gowry after you kill him after completing Millicent questline. Gowry is the guy found in Caelid that starts Millicent questline. And the last one is Shard of Alexander that will increase attack power of skills by 15%. It drops from Iron Fist Alexander after completing his questline. He's a big jar NPC that you first met west of Stormvale Castle in Limgrave, where you kick him out of the ground. This talisman will increase the attack power of the spinning slash skill. For the Physick flag, you need to use first the Lightning Shrouding Crack tier that will increase lightning attacks by 20%, lasts 3 minutes, and it stacks with the Lightning Scorpion Charm Talisman. This tier will increase all of the lightning incantation as well as the spinning slash skill. It drops by the Erdtree avatar in Minor Erdtree in northeast part of Leorna of the Lakes. The last tier is up for preference, depending if you like to do more damage with the lightning incantation by increasing the scaling of the Gravel Stone Seal, or doing more physical damage by increasing the strength scaling of the Dragon Halberd. I choose the first one because I would like to do more damage to bosses using the ancient Lightning Dragon Strike or Lightning Spear, and you do that using the Faith Knot Crystal tier that will increase Faith by 10 and last 3 minutes. It's found in a bowl under a tree surrounded by poison flowers north of Demi-Human Forest ruins in the Whipping Peninsula. For incantations I use Golden Vow that will increase damage by 15% and 10% all damage negation, lasts 80 seconds and can be found in Corpse Stench Shack in Mount Gilmere. Next is Flame Granny Strength that will increase physical damage and fire damage by 20% and plus 5 stamina recovery. It lasts 30 seconds and can be found behind Fort Gale in Caelid, between 2 mechanical flamethrowers. Next is Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike, is the boss killer incantation and can be purchased from Brother Corhim or Muriel, the Pastor of Vows, after giving the Ancient Dragon Prayer Book that can be found in Crumbling Farm Azula in a large building next to the Crumbling Beast Grave Depth Site of Grace. Next is the Lightning Spear that you can obtain it by buying it as well when you give the Dragon Cult Prayer Book that is dropped by a knight patrolling south of the Artist's Shack in Leorna of the Lake. And as optional incantations, I got Lanciac's Glaive that does the AoE attack of lightning, and it drops by killing Ancient Dragon Lanciacs in Altus Plateau. The Frozen Lightning Spear that does lightning damage and 90 frostbite on opponents, and it can hit multiple times as well. It's dropped by Dragon King Soldier of Noxtella in Ainsil River. And lastly is Flame Cleanse Me, it's just a debuff incantation to get rid of poison and rot and its buildup. It's found in the Firemonk camp southeast of the Church of Vows in Leorna of the Lakes. So now let's talk about the attributes. The main attributes of this build are Strength, Faith, dexterity, and vigor. Yes, 4. It may seem odd, but to have the most attack power with the Dragon Halberd, you need a more even spread in strength and dexterity. And since Faith will increase directly the lightning damage and dexterity will help with the cast speed, so it makes sense to have them all leveled up. Because if you level one above the other, the playstyle of this build will be affected, like you will do poor damage with the weapon or you will do poor damage with the incantation, and we don't want that. Of course, you need vigor as usual. This character I'm using is a rebirth vagabond, so a few of the attributes that I'm not using might differ from you if you're using a different class. Now, if you want to create this build from the beginning, you can start selecting a confessor, a prophet, or a vagabond. I know it's an NG plus build, so I will show you the attribute spread starting from level 150. Below this level, I think you should create your character around dexterity and faith, and slowly building your strength to the same level when you reach 150. So vigor at 50, a good HP pool, mind at 16, endurance at 27, we need that decent endurance to carry all the heavy armor and weapon, strength at 40, dexterity at 40, intelligence at 9, faith at 40, we can cast all incantation except 40 sacks lightning spear, arcane at 7. For a level 200 character like mine, the attribute look like this: vigor at 60, mind at 20, endurance at 30, strength at 53, dexterity at 50, intelligence at 9, faith at 50, arcane at 7. And with the character above level 200, you want to keep leveling strength, dexterity, and faith depending what you want to increase, your weapon damage or your incantation damage. So this build will be even more powerful with more levels in. I know you will say that of all level 200 everything is powerful in the game, but I disagree. It takes a good build and synergy to be really powerful. And this build can improve even more. So after doing this playthrough, I think this is the first time I played with a build that needs 4 attributes to be at the highest value possible. It will not have the highest incantation damage or the highest melee damage, but still it gets to a level that you can manage to two-shot bosses with incantations or do great melee damage to enemies and bosses with the help of the versatility of the lightning incantations. You know, the damage from a distance with the lightning spear, the AoE damage with the Lancia's glaive, or even with the spinning slash. I mean, the Dragon Halberd skill spinning slash is really cool when it gets imbued with ice lightning. It is really fun, and most importantly can get you to finish your playthrough. When deciding what weapon to use, the amount of weapons with default lightning damage are pretty low. So I wish in the future DLC there's more weapons like this to make more of this kind of builds that I think are really fun and gives you a break from the popular builds like bleed and magic and so on. So yeah, I recommend this build 100%, so you should try it now. So guys, if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button so YouTube share it with more people, and subscribe if you don't want to miss build videos like this one and want to be part of the tribe. Thank you everybody for watching, and I really appreciate you. So as always, be safe and see you on the next one. Ciao!